Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Inside the Mix podcast. If you are a new listener, please do hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification bell as well so you get notified when there's a new episode. And also when we go live, which we are now because it's an episode of the Producer's Pub. If you are a returning listener, a big welcome back. So as I mentioned then, this is an episode of the Producer's Pub. It's a very popular platform. So if you're a new audience or a new listener, basically what happens is I've got 4 producers, artists with me today, and we're going to play 30 seconds worth of music from each of them, listen to it, and then discuss it thereafter. So if you're watching this on YouTube live, please do put something in the comments. You can get involved. There's no one there at the moment, and there might not be throughout. Who knows? So with that in mind, let's start with our first track, and this is from Russell Nash. Russell, what have we got coming up?
This is just a track that I just kind of threw together last night. It's for another project that I can't really talk about, but I was thinking about using this is actually to add it to something I've actually already released, because I was considering remastering my EP called Cyber Odyssey, and then I'd always intended to write a 4th track for it, and then I reckon that this will be it, because it's got the same kind of vibe as the other tracks. So it's got like a kind of sci-fi kind of vibe to it.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's give this a go. Here we go. This is 30 seconds of Russell Nash. Cool, mate. What are you using for your bass? The I don't know how to describe it. It's like that growl sound. What are you using? What plugin or synth are you using for that?
All of this demo is done on the Arturia's CS80 plugin.
Oh man, I remember using that a while back. Do you have the Arturia plugin suite where you got like the GX7, the Moog, Prophet, all that sort of stuff?
Yes.
Sure answer. Excellent. Well, there we go. He does. We'll put an affiliate link in for that. I like that.
Let's just say I acquired it.
Oh, I see. I just hit my microphone stand. I see. Reading between the lines. I get you, man. No, I really like that. I think it sounds good. Nice. I like the bass in it. I'm always a big fan of the sort of bass sounds. Yeah, that's my best way I can put it together. I'll open it up to the floor. What do you think? What do you think, folks?
I really like the drums on it, actually. The drums sounding nice as well, so good sound on them. Yeah, I like that. I like the track. It's good. Sort of feels like it needs a little bit of padding out, maybe just a little bit more sort of fullness in it. But that's only judging on what sound we're getting here. But but it depends where it is in the track as well, sort of. I mean, we've only heard 30 seconds, so I don't know where it's going next, but it sounds good. I like the melody sort of
like that
as well.
That's like the intro, like the intro up to right. What would be I don't know, like the first verse starting, something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll can add to it as the track goes. I will add more to flesh it out a bit.
With regards to your drums, mate, are you programming drums, or do you have like a drummer? I don't know how to describe it. You can get some soft synth drummers whereby they'll create a pattern for you, or do you program them yourself on like a MIDI keyboard or trigger them?
I program all my drums.
Cool.
I've kind of explained this one before, but some of you already know that I used to play guitar in bands and stuff like that before I get into this whole synthy thing. And I used to write demos for my band when I was 20, and the drummer always used to complain that the drums, the programmed drums that I made for the demos were always shit. So he was always on my ass to write more interesting drum parts. So I just started like really listening to, you know, whenever I had my MP3 player on or whatever, I would listen really carefully to what the drums were doing, and then I would go home and I would try replicate them, and then yeah, I don't know, I guess I just kind of get fly for it. So yeah, you can thank my old drummer Ian.
Nice. It's I program them by hand, as you do as well. Yeah, but it's not one of my stronger suits. I find it a bit of a ball ache sometimes. But no, it sounds good, mate. I always like your drums. They're always nice little fills and stuff going on in there. These fast sort of fills you got going, man. Really like them.
Cheers.
I'll spread it around. Jake, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, cheers, man.
Nice. Thank you, Jake. Wallmind, what are your thoughts?
Man, I really like this music. I really like the bass. As a bass player, I think that this music reminds me Tom Sawyer of Rush. I really like the bass.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, that's
Tom Sawyer,
I'll take
yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's a great song. Man, that makes me want to go and have a Rush binge now. That's on my soundtrack to the week.
Geddy
Rush.
Lee, who was voted Kerrang's most ugly man of rock. Yeah.
Was
The
he
master.
really?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very talented ugly man.
Yeah. That's the thing in rock, like in music, you could be
Yeah,
like,
that was really
you could
cool,
be proper
mate. I love
fucking
the,
ugly, but
yeah,
if you're
so
that
you
talented,
don't have to look
you
good.
The
can-
chords that you've
Yeah,
chosen
well,
are
this is it,
sort of
yeah.
unpredictable. They're not
Poor
what
Geddy
you'd
Lee.
expect.
I'm sure
I
there's
think
got to be
it's
worse
really
than
cool. You've
Synthwave.
definitely got your own sound going on there, mate.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Excellent. Thank you, Russell. Next one is from aisle 9. What have we got coming up?
Well, this is a bit left field because, like, normally, as you know, I do synthwaves as well. I think everyone else here, but like, this is a sort of side project called Mirror Dome, which we're releasing on this track on the 11th. Yeah, Russell likes the Mirror Dome concept. It wasn't actually about baldness, but no, you know, it just came out that way. But like, my friend and I, he's actually bald as well, so there we go. There was a connection. But yeah, two of us, he's a bass player, well, sort of multi-instrumentalist, but both are sort of thing. And it's an actual sort of physical project. We get together sort of, you know, during the week. Sort of, we have one session a week and we've been doing so for a while. And we've sort of written a whole load of tracks gradually. And I guess it's sort of a bit of a mixture of some of my synthy influences and other influences. And he's quite into trip hop as well, because I mean, Bristol's not far from here. There's a bit of Bristol trip hop thing. So the West Country's been big with trip hop in the past. So I think some of that's coming through. But it's a bit of a mixture of like more sort of slightly live music kind of things, like some guitars, but again we tend to sample things, bass, and we've done some live recordings of the drums as well and then turned them into loops. This one actually I think was the first one we did, and so it hasn't got that kind of treatment. It's more of a sort of sequence, you know. Again, I programmed the drums, but it's you have to see what you think. I mean, it's got a slight lo-fi lean as well, I guess. So but yeah, it's going to be out on the 11th at Mirror Dome Music. Mm-hmm.
Mirror Dome. You know what? Until you mentioned it then, I hadn't put the link between Mirror Dome and your aesthetic together. So
no, I hadn't either really. But like Russell laughed a lot, so I thought he must have picked up on something. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, here we go. Excellent stuff. I can definitely hear the lo-fi in it, and it once again, I know the platform that we're using sort of, it does rinse the audio quality that you're presenting, but rest assured when this goes live it will be the proper one. But I can definitely, you can hear how you've got those sort of organic sounding instruments as well, and how it's different to the usual stuff. It's really cool, mate. I can imagine that. I listen to like those sort of studying and focus playlists on Spotify, and I can imagine it sitting in there really, really nicely. It's really cool, man. I can hear the lo-fi element.
Thank you. I think I mean, you know, there's some vinyl bits, there's all kinds of bits going on, but at the same time, I think it's almost like sort of intelligent lo-fi, musical lo-fi. It's got like, it does have quite a lot of changes in playing and stuff, rather than it just being like, oh, we've taken something and we've sort of slowed it down, we've put it through a vat of reverb, or you know what I mean, or it's very crunchy, or all those sort of lo-fi type things. It's got all of those elements, but I think at the same time we're trying to sort of, I mean, we're two people who played a lot and done a lot of music live and play a lot, so I guess it's got that musicality hopefully to it, but it's always hard to not overdo that to the point where you actually make something that no one, you know, you turn into Geddy Lee. No, but like we're trying to sort of not overdo the kind of musicness, you know, not go up our own bums being musicians and play jazz solos, but at the same time it's kind of trying to sort of put a bit of musical influence into that sort of slightly lo-fi sort of spot, I suppose. But you know, we'll see how we go.
You didn't want any Django Reinhardt going on there.
I don't know. I love a bit of Django. Yeah.
A bit of Django. I had a guitar tutor.
Chop off my fingers.
And, he was teaching me how to play. He was a guitar tutor teaching me the guitar, but he basically is one of those ones where you just I know, point out the obvious. I just go to his house and he would just jam in front of me and play like gypsy jazz, and I'd be like, well, I'm not really learning anything here. You're just playing like Django Reinhardt to me for an hour. I didn't really get anywhere, so that's my redeeming memory of Django Reinhardt. No, I think it's cool, man. I like the idea of intelligent. I'm not saying that like lo-fi isn't intelligent, but I like the idea of lo-fi intelligent. Which is really cool, because I think we had this discussion on Friday, didn't we, where we said that you could just like stick a fuck ton of reverb on it and slow it down, and then you can have some lo-fi, you know. But I'm sure the lo-fi purists will
I know there's some brilliant lo-fi stuff, there's some amazing stuff out there, but you know, it's like any genre, isn't it? It's lots of different things in it. What does anyone else think?
Right, I think I'll probably be alone here, but I don't know, man. I could just picture like fucking Adam Levine crooning over that.
Adam,
like, I was totally hearing, like, you know the singer from Maroon 5.
Yeah.
Like, I could just totally hear him like,
like a Maroon 5 thing. Wow, yeah. I know. Maybe it's got that funky sort of rock, you know, that pop funk rock funk, you know, that kind of element to it as well, perhaps.
I mean, it's not, you know, it's not exactly like that, but like I was just getting like a little bit of that vibe, and like I could picture him singing over it. It also reminded me a little bit of are you familiar with Bonobo? Bonobo, or however the fuck you pronounce it.
Oh, Bonobo,
Bonobo, yes,
yeah.
Like, I was getting a tiny bit of that vibe from it as well, but no, I liked it, man. Like, it's I could picture that.
I think we like things like sort of Sneaker Pimp. Yeah, we like sort of some of the sort of that kind of down tempo stuff, like Massive Attack, Sneaker Pimps, all those kind of sort of things, that kind of stuff from back there. I guess they're sort of late 90s, 2000s sort of like sort of stuff. Portishead, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say Portishead, because you mentioned Bristol, didn't you? And Portishead and whatnot, and you've got that sound. Bristol's definitely got a sound, hasn't it? When I was there, living there, it's you can't help but
I think it's just trying to sort of think of that now, because of course that was then, and it's not a very now thing. But like everything else, it's got retro sort of. I don't think I do anything that hasn't got a bit of retro, really. That's probably because I don't know what now is.
What is now? What is now? You could go down a whole rabbit hole of shit with what now, couldn't you?
Borrowing different things from different places, I guess.
Cool. Open it up to the floor again. Any thoughts? Wallmind, what are your thoughts?
Man, I really like this music. I really like the groove, and as a bass player, I always pay attention in the bass, the sound, the bass. I think it's a jazz bass or a precision bass, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's actually a really It's a 1970s, I think, like precision, on that one with flat wounds on the, It's a really gorgeous bass, my friend's bass. He didn't let anyone else play it, really. It's really nice. It's actually quite hard to play, but it sounds nice. Yeah, it's really nice bass.
Yeah, I have a Music Man here, a Stingray, but the sound is much punch, you know?
Yeah, much more punch,
and
isn't it?
Yeah, jazz bass is really smooth. I really love the sound of the jazz bass and its precision.
I recorded it through a UAD 610 sort of plugin, which is kind of their kind of recreation of like the famous Motown channel on those desks that people used to sort of the classic Motown sound was to go straight into the desk DI with your bass through the channel and using the kind of the saturation that that channel kind of produced on the bass, and it does give you that kind of that real sort of woody kind of sound on the bass, which is nice. It wouldn't be any good if you were doing a sort of full-on funk or metal thing, but it's good for that kind of, that kind of vibe, that sort of mellow vibe. Yeah.
Fantastic. Jake, any thoughts, buddy?
Yeah. So I got like the Jean-Michel Jarre sort of feel from the drop broken sound, but not only in the sense of the sound, you've also got like the approach that can't be got out of that. Yeah, so I got like a Jean-Michel Jarre sort of feel from
will not deny liking Jean-Michel Jarre, so that's definitely been an influence on me at points. So yeah, although he's I don't think I'm about to stand in Docklands doing lasers.
Yeah,
but, he was amazing
sample.
because I remember it was like it was kind of like one of those things that I saw quite a bit.
Like the approach that he had with that album, I reckon, of combining organic
I don't know what age I
instruments
was,
with
but relatively young when
electronics,
he was busy doing some of his
really cool, man.
performing
really
sort of things, like on the telly and sort of stuff. It was kind of like he was sort of turning up all the time, so I definitely listened to Oxygen and all that sort of stuff quite a lot. Yeah, it's just pretty classic, really. You don't realise sometimes when someone's breaking sort of groundbreaking stuff really at the time. I think it's only years later you go like, who else was making music that sounded like that at the time? It's quite sort of fresh, and now loads of dance music and loads of other stuff has taken it all on, so yeah, it's good. Cool. I'll take a bit of Jarre any day.
Does that mean you're not going to have lasers at the gig in October, Tim?
No, there'll be lasers. Yeah. Coming out my eyes. Yeah. I don't know if there'll be lasers at the strong rooms, but yeah. Probably won't be any lo-fi.
Opportunity to plug the gig there.
Yes.
We might as well plug it now. What is the gig, Tim?
Yeah, it's a Dusk Waves gig, so that's kind of a people are putting it on. It's at the Strong Rooms. You're going to ask me the date, and I can't remember it now. It's October, isn't it? October,
I want to say 22nd, but I want to say 22nd, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, 27th, 22nd, something like that. Yeah, around that. Basically it's up in London in the Strong Rooms, and there's going to be a sort of whole load of retrowave artists, so sort of 4 of us I think on, and Aisle 9 I will be doing that with my drummer Stu and playing live. We're just checking up on my thing when it actually is live in October the 14th, I think. Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon gig, I think, or something. It's an afternoon gig. That's
Excellent.
What Dusk Waves tend to do, so should be good.
I'm hoping to I'm planning on popping along to that, so audience listening, if you are in the London area on the 14th, do attend.
Yeah, and, it's all going to be free.
I just double checked it, by the way. It's definitely the 14th. I checked it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
There we go. Excellent, thank you, R9. If we go on to the third track of today, the third artist, Wallmind, what have we got coming up? Tell us a bit about the song. Yeah, that's yourself, Wallmind. What if you could describe the song?
Man, Walls of Time is a song released in 2023 from the album Walls of Time. I want to make a music that was mysterious, but at the same time striking. For this, I chose simple elements like drum, a pad, and harp to set the mood of the song. I don't use a tons of channels on Ableton Live. I believe in the minimalism of the music. With simple elements, you can convey what the music needs. The bass is key to rev. I use as inspiration by coincidence, the same bass like our friend Russell. I love the Tom Sawyer bass, and I
Ah,
used the synth silent to do this bass. You will
oh yeah.
realize that the song tells a story. It starts slow and builds up. Afterwards, the arpeggio starts giving greatness to the music. So then, as the arpeggio ends, the drum stops and the only sound of the pad remains, making the music brief. So what I did was reduce elements at the end of the music. It's important to say that there is no right or wrong, but I prefer to tell a progressive story that starts with a few elements and then I add new elements to create dynamics. Chords are about feeling and emotional energy that help listeners connect and vibe with our music. You have to try to imagine your entire track like a movie script. We can add instruments and expression to increase the energy of the music, or even remove the instruments to reduce the energy. It also makes music more satisfying to the human ear. And in Walls of Time music, I do my all favorite transitions, which is going from high energy to nothing. In the lead of the song, I use a light sound to contrast with the initial bass of the song. There's all kinds of options out there. There are many timbres options that you can use in a song, but the most important thing is to choose sounds that go well with each other. And for that, the producer must do a job of meaning the intended timbre. New leads, new pads, new sounds, new bass. It adds little elements of surprise to our ears, like, oh, what is that? It's really open other possibilities in your mind. After all, we are buying a track. This is how it works. It's such a great tool to use when you want something that's really kind of unexpected.
Fantastic. Thank you for the comprehensive description as well. It's brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. As soon
Yeah.
as you mentioned
Yeah.
then about minimalistic approach, I'm
Yeah,
with you
yeah,
on
that's,
that because I'm a
cool.
huge advocate of minimalism and a minimalistic approach. And also what you said about there, about removing aspects rather than adding. So yeah, big on that one. So I'm hoping it's going to play from the beginning because I know I demoed it earlier. If it doesn't, I'll quickly revert it back to the beginning. And I has. Excellent. I really do want to play the whole song, but in the interest of fairness, I'm going to stop it at 34
Yeah.
seconds.
Oh,
But I love
shame.
that. I really like the way you had those plucks come in and then they sort of transition nicely into the next part. And I really like that in songwriting where you introduce an element in the part before and then it's the main focal point of the next part. And I can hear it once again. I can see why you like Russell's track because you've got that growling, that girthy growl bass sound in there as well. I really like the plucks that you've got going on there. And you've mentioned you use silent. Is that right? You use silent?
Yeah, it's silence.
Yeah. Did you use that? What did you use for the pluck sounds?
For the plugs, I use Diva, Arturia Diva.
Nice. I really like those. Really nice. That's a really nice chilled like synth song, man. I'm gonna listen
I'm
to
gonna go
that.
and listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
very
man.
nice.
Arturia.
In-
What's
in
that?
music-
Arturia synth? I don't know that.
Arturia Synth. Let me remember. In the pad, I use Diva too, and in arpeggio, I use the Nexus 64.
Ah,
Remember the synth, this plugin,
yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Nexus.
nice. I like the
64.
Nexus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nexus is really good.
And,
It's just too expensive. I can't afford it. Keep looking at buying Nexus and then go like, oh, it's just too much money. I used to have the previous version of Nexus, and then they went from 32-bit to 64-bit, and that's magically stopped working. So I didn't
And the
buy
bass I
new
use
one.
the silence. And it's an important thing to say that in a music, I always look how songs are structured, what make a chorus stand out, and how you create an intro that moves people. In general, there is no right or wrong when it comes to songwriting. However, if you pay close attention, you see that the most of the tracks you love have a similar structure. A great example of changing the structure of the song was made by the producer of the band Rage Against the Machine in the song Killing the Name. Initially, the band arrived with a structure totally different from the music we know today. The beginning of it was boring. Things took time to happen. So with the producer important work, they changed the song and messed up the role structure of the song become a rich. The change was important because the original version was not interesting. So I think the work of the producer is important. It's like a painter who paints a picture and must step aside to observe the work of what he's painting and give suggestions that will make a difference in the music. So I sometimes have the impression that some producers or even bands forget to analyze the music as a whole and think about the structure of emotion that the music should generate. And in the 80s, we had the great architects of music like Tears for Fears in the song Shout that has 6 minutes, and the record company wanted to drop the song, but Roland didn't allow, and the song becomes a hit. Even so, the label insisted on a smaller version, and they made a radio version of the song Shall, and has 4 minutes at the end, and ends with a guitar solo. This is all to show how important the structure of a song is.
Right.
Fantastic. Once again, my friend, I applaud your prep and your answers. They're fantastic. Thank you very much. And I appreciate as well not being your first language. So it's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, folks, I wish I knew. Are you joining us from Brazil? Is that right?
Yeah, Brazil.
Yeah, my girlfriend's got Portuguese heritage, so you'd like to think I know some Portuguese, but I don't. I'm trying to think of any. All I can think of is bacalhau, and I think that means salted cod. But that's about as far as I.
Not particularly.
So nice.
Why do you know that?
It's because I went to I had a trip to Spain, and then I briefly jumped over the border to Portugal, and there was this huge stand selling salted cod, and it just stuck in my head ever since. I don't know if it's the same in Brazil, but
You're a West Country lad.
I wanna
With
say-
simple things like fish on your mind.
yeah. I want to say bon dia. Is that Portuguese? Bon dia?
Yeah, it's Portuguese.
It is.
Bon dia.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I got
I played
something
in I played in a band like for a while, like, and a really good friend of mine was in another band, and he's a drummer, and he decked for us a couple of times. We were a function band, like, and he's an extraordinary drummer, really, really good. But he was like half Portuguese, half American, I think. But like, he's like absolutely stunning sort of metal drummer was his main thing, but he sort of mixed it up with like this kind of Latin sensibility, which I guess he got from from Portugal. But like, he just like, it was like, I've never really heard a metal drummer who sort of had that, and the mixture of the two of those was like, I used him on quite a few recordings I did for other friends and people when I was running my studio. I used to get him in as a session drummer. The only thing is, he could never play the same thing twice. Literally, you never ever get the same take. Like, so you'd play a song and think, oh, that's great, we'll do it like that next week, and it never repeated. But it was just like, very random, his playing, but like brilliance as well. So that Latin vibe, he's still doing it, I think, in this metal band, but like quite an interesting one. They were called Alternative
think
Car
of,
Park. There you go.
the metal band from Brazil, Sepultura.
Yeah.
Being a metalhead myself, I And there's a great live video of theirs from the 90s where they get all these sort of vintage and cultural Brazilian instrumentation in, and it's absolutely amazing. They build up this whole pastiche of this track using all these vintage instruments, and it's absolutely incredible. And I think there might be some capoeira in there somewhere, which is a Brazilian martial art. I did that for a while. I wasn't very good. Capoeira.
Just kept throwing
Anyway,
salty cod at people.
Yeah, it's a running joke now that's the only Brazilian, the only Portuguese that I know with my girlfriend. It's bacalhau, and I don't even eat fish.
Brazil has a lot of great musicians, like the drummer of Sepultura, Eloy Casagrande. Great drummer. Great drummer.
Fantastic. In the 90s, they were awesome. They're still good now, but yeah, some of the stuff.
In England, you're a good drummer if you can count to 4. That's it, really. I mean, you don't have to be able to do much else. Yeah. I mean, you know, look at bloody Beatles.
Have you ever been in a Sepultura show?
Everyone goes on about Ringo being great at playing, for fuck's sake.
I've never been. I'm trying to think if I have. I might have seen them at a festival, but I might have been half cut / pissed, so I don't remember. I want to say yes, but it wouldn't have been the 90s Sepultura. It would have been like the later incarnation with when the who are the guys? It's Igor, the Cavalera brothers were no longer in the band. Which is a shame.
Like I think that the new drummer of Sepultura has a great punch in his drum kit, and man, it's a great drummer. You have to see them in a show. It's different.
I'll look it up. My week is now going to be Sepultura / Rush.
Yeah.
Rush.
Well, Neil Peart's not like bad at playing, is he? You know.
Well, exactly. Yeah. It's not bad drummers there.
No.
Any other thoughts on Walls of Time?
I really liked it. I liked how the kind of the mood of the song was. It was almost uplifting and kind of melancholy at the same time. You know, it's like that. It's that strange kind of vibe where it kind of makes you feel a little bit sad, but a little bit kind of like uplifting at the same time. So like I really like that. I really like when songs do that. I thought the arrangement was really good. Like all the different parts worked like really well together. I mean, I'm struggling to think of anything to criticize, to be honest. I thought it all sounded really good. I would kind of need to hear the rest of it to kind of hear like the all the parts like in the context of the full song. But no, I thought it was great.
Oh, that's all right.
I really liked it.
I thought it had like in terms of the sound, it had like a beautiful
Can I ask you a
balance
question,
to it, where you had like
Sorry, Joe. Go for it. Yeah, it does sound good.
The production. I thought the production was really good too.
Yeah, 100%.
Can I ask a quick question, Wallmind? I've heard through somebody, I think it was through to do with their label actually, but like was saying that there's a real growth in like synthwave in Latin America in general. Like there's a real in that part of the world that synthwave is getting quite big. Is that true? Is that something you think would be true, that synthwave is popular or becoming popular?
In Brazil, Synthwave has become popular. We have a great community.
The soft pad in the background,
producers
and then
of Synthwave.
Those plucky synths juxtaposed and then like pulling through. I just thought it sounded really nice, mate. It was
in the
really
last
good
year.
production.
We meet each other and we make a WhatsApp group to discuss about production, about timbres, about synths. And Brazil has a lot of synthwave producers.
Interesting, because I had started to hear about it, but didn't know. So that's really cool. Great. I'm going to sell all my stuff to Brazil.
I've noticed. Yeah, I've noticed that recently, like a lot of the people that have been adding me on SoundCloud have been from South America. Like it's like
It's just great to
producers
hear
from
a
South
growth
America.
in
So like I,
anything. It's great. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Synth.
You'll have to, as part of this group, Wallmind, you'll have to post the link to this episode. But this is shameless self-promotion for the podcast. But post a link to this episode in your WhatsApp group when it goes live, and
Yeah, of course.
we'll expand the Latin American audience, which would be amazing. I remember having a conversation. There's an Argentinian synth promoter, which is I cannot remember it for the life of me, but they were really, really good. And this was a couple of years ago. But I know there's I've spoken to a number of Argentinian bands who are synth orientated. But it's so cool because I like that because you still got that sort of Latin American tinge to it as well, which is really, really nice, and a nice different flavour to the, because there's a lot of synthwave artists and a lot of it can sound similar, so having those different aspects come in is really, really nice.
It's good having
Really, really
different
nice.
flavours into it as well, different injections of things into
Yeah.
synthwave, so it grows and becomes a more interesting genre. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Wallmind. Last but by no means least, Jake, what have we got coming up?
Is it
Yeah,
under
I
your name,
think-
Jake Major? Yeah. Is it under or? Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic. The links will be in the show notes for this,
Yeah.
but before we move on to this, there has been a comment on YouTube.
So
which
this is
amazing.
my latest single called Ventures Through
Okay.
Space and Time. And
Put that in there.
the way it came
There's
about,
been a comment
it's
on
a bit of a
YouTube,
weird one,
and it
actually.
says it's from Cyberdoll. So
we were
shout
given
out
the
to
task of
Cyberdoll.
doing
I
an
love
audio
Synthetic
visual
Dimension
project
band,
at college.
fantastic band from Brazil.
So I was
I've never heard
in
of them.
this sort of film score
Does that
sort
sound
of
familiar to anyone?
mindset.
Synthetic Dimension.
This
Is that a
track
band you
ended
know
up
of,
turning
Wallmind,
into
from
like a
Brazil?
pseudo orchestral track
Maybe
with
not.
like a Vangelis
Possibly.
and
No,
Jean-Michel
Stone
Jarre
Cool.
sort of
Let's
feel.
play Jake Major's track. Let's
And
give that a
It's
go.
out now on all streaming platforms, so if you like the little snippet you
He
hear,
says, is he gonna
please
play?
do check it out. I'd love to get the streams up on it.
That's mine.
That's Tim. That's yours. And right,
Oh,
the beauty of this is when this goes live actually on the podcast, I can remove all this. So I'm just going to re-upload your track. Bear with me 2 seconds. So don't worry, this will be seamless when it's on the actual. He says, "No, I can't wait for it to upload."
Have you been studying, Jake? Have you been doing like music tech, or you been doing sort of media
Yeah,
or
it's
something?
just my name, mate,
You know,
aye.
you say writing for a college thing that is. Ah, excellent. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant.
That's so cool that it's a very specific course, isn't it? Was it DJ and electronic music? It's very, very specific. That's so cool. At least you know exactly, because I know there are a lot of music courses, because I've been down that route myself, and you'll get elements of it where you're just like, that just doesn't appeal to me. So it's quite cool that it's very focused in on that. Right, it's uploaded, so I'm hopefully it's
Yeah,
going to
mate.
work.
There's a course at it's Newcastle College, and it's DJ and electronic music production. So it's just perfect. Yeah. I was thinking about what I was gonna do after leaving school. I was having a look through the courses on there, and I saw that, and I was like, right, that's the one. And then yeah, I'm doing that now. Got another year of that, and then yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do with what I've learned. Yeah.
Once again, in the interest of fairness, I'll stop it there. But that bass line, and then when those chords sort of come in, there's a song, and it reminds me of a song, and I cannot think of what it is. And this happened to me last time on the Producer's Pub, and I remembered it afterwards because I put it in the chat. And I cannot, for the life of me, think of what that bass line, the song is that it reminds me of. But it's really cool. What are you using for that bass line? It's that weird sort of effect you've got going on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Is that Alchemy? Are you using Alchemy, the Logic plugin? The Logic Synthwave? Yeah, that's a great free synth plugin. I like so far as like stock native plugins go. Alchemy's fantastic. I love the fact you've got that little box. I'm doing this. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm making the box sign,
so
you can move.
The thing is, I don't actually have my own home
sound,
studio yet. That's something I'm saving
cool.
up for, and it's obviously quite a hefty price you've got to pay. So I'm just using the facilities at college, and they're all stock Logic sounds that I've used there. And for the bass,
I agree with the bass. That
I
was
just
the first
took a
thing
stock
that stood out to me.
Logic sound, and I got the low
it's
pass
like a really, really nice,
and the high
nice
pass, and I
sound that you
stuck
can
some
put together for the
chorus
bass.
on the high pass, and then
I mean, like I was kind of sad
glue
when
them together.
I had to click stop. So like that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's always a good
I kind of wanted to
sign.
hear where it was going to go.
That will be.
I'm probably going to go and listen to it afterwards because I want to hear what happens.
I think one thing I'd thought, Jake, was that I like the sounds, and I felt like it, I had a good vibe, but I think sometimes it's like looking at the inversions of the chords, or looking at like maybe or sort of extending the chords or something, so that, because it felt like after the couple of repeats when the chords came in with the bass and whatever, like you kind of could hear where they were going next, but you kind of wanted them to sort of extend or go a bit further maybe, and just like sometimes it could just like you just add another dimension by like sort of rising it. I could hear the chord kind of going a bit further up the octave or something, or a melody or something, but at the same time I really felt they were really gelled together. I like the way you created that bass and stuff. That worked really well, and that rhythm,
thank you very much,
like really pulls you through. So and it is difficult when you're using stock plugins. You haven't got as much sort of sonic options, so you're being inventive with what you've got, which can actually be fantastic, I think, rather than going like, oh well, I've got all these amazing plugins and all I do is select a preset and there we go. Is you're going like, oh well, this is sort of what I've got and I can't quite make what I want, so I'm going to be creative to try and get it sounding like what's in my head. And often you invent and discover new techniques and things through doing that, which are really invaluable and make you a much better producer long term, I think. So I think it's a really good thing sometimes to have a limited sort of thing to work with. And again, it might be that like sometimes it's like you can have a limited sonic palette, but then you can go like, you can think musically, like what do I do, rhythms or melodies or extensions of chords or things, because it's like a lot of people like can be very inventive with those things and actually use kind of quite simple sounds and make it really, really work because the way they use them, so it's the combination of production and musicality, isn't it, mixing the two together.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the chord thing. I don't know, like maybe something that you can try is maybe like some substitutions, or like something like that I do occasionally is even just like swap. See when like the progression plays for the second time, even maybe just pick one or two of the chords, and then maybe even you swap it out for the relative major or the relative minor, and then just when it plays the second time, it gives it like a slightly different kind of flavor, and it can just kind of take the listener off guard a little bit.
Yeah, you just add a sixth or a seventh or something like that, above the chord, or like a sort of suspended fourth or something. You know what I mean? Those kind of things are just changing, because I think a lot of people end up with that kind of. I mean, this is not of your tune, but I think it's true
Thank
in
you very
general of the
much,
genre that you'll hear a lot of things and you go like, right, we've got the triads here. Anything else we can do? Kind of thing. And it's like and yet some people are massively inventive with that, and you get some incredible chord voicings. Like, because I mean, some people in the genre are really good at keys, and I'm not particularly a keyboard player myself, but like, but it is, of course, with the sequencer you can do that. You can just go like, you get your basic triad, and then you kind of rearrange it, and then you stick a note above, or you add another, extension in, and sometimes it could just create magic, So it's, and again, maybe it's only one in the 4 chords that has that in it, and it only has it on the second repeat or something, just to give it flavour, So that can be interesting, yeah.
Excellent, thanks, gents. Wallmind, any thoughts? Any for you?
Man, I agree with all Islay tells about the music, and I think that I like the drums, I like the bass, and I think it's a great music. I would like to hear the entire track in other time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed. I like exactly what you've all said there, and what Russell said in particular about like when you substitute or you use the relative minor or major. I love doing that. I use it a lot towards the end of progressions as well. If I'm going into like post bridge, something like that, I think it's really good. And also what Tim said about adding sevenths and sixths, or even taking away as well, taking away notes, is fantastic. Gents, we've come to the end, but before we do that, Pashang has joined us in the chat, who has been on a couple times. It's 3:38 a.m. where he is, and he says, sus for the Synthwave source. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't, honestly. He slept about 2 hours in all the time I've known him.
It's nuts. Cyberdoll says, if one day you're going to look at the songs of the band Synthetic Dimension, I'm sure you'll like it. They have official channel on YouTube. So underrated band. Cool. So a big shout out to Cyberdoll and Pashang for jumping in the YouTube chat there. Amazing stuff. Folks, what we'll do is now, as usual, if you've got any key dates coming up or anything like that, where the audience can find you as well, and I'll put that link in the episode notes. So I'll go around. So Jake, where can our audience find you, and do you have any key dates coming up?
So over the summer, I'm taking a little break from gigs and stuff like that. But just like to hear about events we have. Follow us on Instagram at JakeAwards, and follow us on Facebook. As I said, I do have that new single out there.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you very much. Wallmind, where can our audience find you online?
Man, you can find me in Instagram, only search Wallmind Music, Spotify, Deezer, Bandcamp. Bandcamp is important that the people can support us. YouTube and YouTube too.
Fantastic. I'll put those links in. R9.
Yeah, you can find me at Isle9 Music just about everywhere, apart from Twitter, where I'm also at Isle9 Synthwave. But TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, under a rock somewhere.
So over the summer, I'm taking a little break from gigs and stuff like that. But
I'm
just
also
like to hear about the next gig announcement.
Yeah, you can also
follow us on Instagram
and find Mirrodome, which is a track
or you can get us on
my
Facebook.
side project
That's
at
just under my
Mirrodome
name.
Music
And
on all
as I said,
platforms.
I do have that new
and
single
all
out, Venture
social
Through
media
Space and Time,
things.
so if you want to check that out on
And that's coming
Spotify
out
or
on
any
the
of the other
11th of
platforms,
August, that
it's just
track.
under my name
So
as well.
it would be fantastic if you can follow us on Instagram. Fantastic if you can go and listen to the track, because we are totally new. That is debut single for us called Crystals. And also you can hear me. I will be playing live at Duskwave's event on the 14th of October, and that's a Saturday in the afternoon at the Strong Rooms. But like, I'm sure to have some releases before then, and you just find me online and say hello.
Lovely. And finally, Russell Nash.
Yeah, I'm on all the platforms that everyone's mentioned, but like, just keep it nice and neat. Just you can get them on my link tree, so just linktr.ee/Russell Nash Music. And it's Russell
Thanks,
with
buddy.
two L's.
Lovely. Once again, audience listening, all those links will be in the show notes as well, so please do go and support the artists. Do follow them on their relative platforms and whatnot, because it's amazing stuff, and do go check that out. Gents, it's been a pleasure as always. This for the audience listening as well, this is going to be the last one until I think the next one's going to be coming out in October, because although there will be weekly episodes of the podcast, I'm taking a bit of a break over August. I'm going off on some jollies, so there'll be a bit of a break with the producer's part, but it will be coming back with a vengeance in October, because I think it's already fully booked. I think November might be as well. So once again, gents, big thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.